of sovereign countries forming the East African bloc, one Ghanaian language. Was this one also introduced by Kwesi Broni? No. This is a problem that has been self-inflicted. And if you want to solve it, we must begin from the kindergarten. The speaker, even here, we have Ghanaians. When you talk of Ghanaians in diaspora, we always look at the US and the German. No. We have internal Ghanaians in diaspora. Somebody is from Eastern region here. He's in Greater Accra here. He never visits Eastern region. Just boundary regions. Somebody is from Central region. He's in Greater Accra here. He never goes to Central region. So you meet them. And their parents speak English with them in their houses. So become internal Ghanaians in diaspora. Mr. Speaker? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, these are serious challenges. Somebody came, oh, my mother told me we are from Techima. Ah, your mother said you were from Techima. Have you been there before? The person has been here, attended international school here, secondary school here, university here, and never go to Techima. So after this generation and the next generation, that the person now becomes a Ghanaian from Techima in diaspora in Accra. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. And I believe it's a serious issue that my sister has raised. And we must, the next International Day of Mother Tongue, we must transact business in at least one of the Ghanaian languages. And this will serve as a test case for those who are teaching. Have some pride, especially those who are teaching in the Ghanaian languages in the various junior and senior high. My school, Sunyani Secondary School, the tutor who was teaching Ghanaian languages went to the regional division in the curfew days, and he was arrested by the police. He said, oh, me a teacher he was Susek, me a teacher he was Susek. He said, what do you teach in Susek? He said, Adieno. He himself could not get the courage to say that he was teaching Akan. He said, Adieno. Adiebe. So, Mr. Speaker, even if the tutor could not mention that he was teaching Akan in Sunyani Secondary School, but he called it Adieno. So, because of that, those who were learning Akan, when it was time for Akan, they would say, oh, Adieno. Then that became the need. So, these are serious. We must take pride in our mother tongue, in our local languages. The opportunities are there. And that is the only way we can best promote them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable
Speaker, I thank you for the treasure space. And I wish to be brief, but it shouldn't be lost on my part. I have to congratulate and thank the maker of the statement. Speaker, we've listened to a number of statements and contributed to a number of statements on this House floor. I think this is significantly important. And for some reason, I think this is the first time I am witnessing a member making such a commemorative statement, marking a Mother Tongue Day, International Mother Tongue Day. A bit of history though. I'm told that a country like Bangladesh, they envisaged and made that suggestion to the United Nations recently, just in 1999, when it was adopted by a resolution that it should be one of the days celebrated on the calendar of the world. Speaker, statistics also hazard that the world population, about 40% don't have access to education in the language they understand or their mother tongue. Now, I think many of our colleagues have spoken to the difficulty and lamented enough. I want to look forward, going forward. What should we be seen to be doing? It is not for nothing, Speaker. It's not for nothing that the Asian tigers, Asian Malaysia, Singapore, China, and all these countries, they take pride in their indigenous language. They take pride in their indigenous language. So the importance of mother tongue cannot be overemphasized. And I pray, Speaker, that at the conclusion of this statement, probably, Speaker, and will be in your hands, that you make some consequential referrals for us not to let this matter end today. But then we'll continue to talk about it and come to an effective conclusion in terms of enforcement. So I'm told the University of Cape Coast Medical School has made it compulsory. Fanti is part of their curriculum. University of Cape Coast, my alma mater. Fanti is part of the curriculum of the medical school. We hear of English proficiency all over the world. You are seeking admission in Europe, you need to take English proficiency. We can also do that. Why don't we also have indigenous language proficiency? I maybe at the risk of being controversial. If our mother tongue is taken seriously, I'm sure, and you speak one or two, on the average, each person speaks one or two, it will help to reduce many of the conflicts we have in our country. So I am an Ashanti, mother Ashanti, father an Achem, but I was brought up in the Volta region. So I meet my colleagues from the Volta region, my senior colleague at the university, my senior custodian, the Honorable Dafemeko, and we speak away. We do for great. So I speak the away, and people get amazed. That is how come I'm able to relate so well with my constituents. And they ask you, are you an Akano, an Ewe, or what? That is the power of language. Right from creation, God showed us the way. And that's why my senior colleague will help. I don't know whether it was Babylon at the Tower of Babel, yes. And God in his wisdom said, you will not speak one language. It's not for nothing. It is not for nothing. God in his wisdom at that time was teaching us some wisdom that we should appreciate the importance of the diversity of language in creation. It's sad. I'm very saddened that this thing is as fundamental as it is. It appears to have been lost on us, and we've wandered for so long. So I implore you, even as I end my contribution, we punish our kids for not being able to speak good grammar. We punish our kids. Many of us here are guilty. And you go to the law courts. If you are not able to make your presentation in good grammar or good English, your case may not even be heard. It's sad. It's sad. So we have to renew and change our minds and thinking. If you're a member of parliament and your language is not good, you are not fortunate to have attended one of the Achimotas and the likes, you risk losing your seat. So I can tell you, maybe, it's part of the reasons why some people lose their seats. They say, they use it, he can't speak in the chamber because he can't speak good English. Meanwhile, he has something good to contribute. So, Speaker, this is a very, very important statement. I profusely commend my colleague for such an important statement that, and if you read the statement, the context in which she puts it, and she referenced the Constitution, Article 39, clear, that we as a country must make conscious effort to develop our indigenous language. So we are not to be repetitive, just to conclude, but I want to implore you that this should not just be one of the statements that we just contribute to and we leave it to get dusty. I employ and I plead with you that let's make some consequential referral and continue in the search and employ duty bearers that ultimately we should be able to enforce this and change the status quo and change the narrative. I thank you, Speaker, for the treasure space.
Well, I thank you. I once listened to an anthropologist, and he said, God did not create Ghanaians for nothing. He created us, planted us here as Ghanaians, as Ewes, as Akans, as the Garis, as Gas, and whatever tribe you may talk about, for a reason. And I think we have to be proud of it. We have to speak with our children, because it's now becoming an issue. No family would like to speak Cree, Ewe, Ga, with their children, because they go to school and their colleagues will laugh at them. I think we need to take a second look at it. And whilst I'm thanking the maker of the statement, let me refer this statement to the Education Committee to link up with the minister and see how best they can start making this policy in the educational arrangement, so that the children, the kids, will at least begin with the schooling from KG, kindergarten, and those beginning classes. They can start with their mother tongue. And it's very important. We are told that children will be able to learn effectively when they start with their mother tongue. So the statement is being referred to Education Committee. They should look into it and report back to the House. Yes, Leader.
Mr. Speaker, if you can include the leadership of the Committee on Youth, Sports and Culture, because mother language falls under culture, and they are responsible. So the leadership can assist the Education Committee in that direction.
Yes, Leader.
Speaker, respect, I want to agree with my colleague, my friend, and to say that it's important that it's done, and also emphasize that, Speaker, with your leave, if you can give timelines, I think it will be important that they work within a certain time frame. And this sitting is a short sitting, so as you know, with your leave.
Well, so we add the leadership of sports and culture, and the committee is supposed to report back to the House within 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Well, we take the second statement from Honorable Member for Yoyo, Honorable Oscar Liwea. And the statement is on the benefit of Shea nut industry on women's empowerment. So, Honorable Member, the floor is yours. Let's hear you. How are you? Or you want to come and take Chief Whip's?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to make a statement on the impact of shea nut industry on women's empowerment in Ghana. The shea tree, which grows naturally in the wild, in the dry savanna belt of Africa, from Ghana in the west to Sudan in the east, and onto the foothills of the Ethiopian highlands. In Ghana, the population of the shea trees grows naturally in the wild and has been estimated to be 9.4 million and over in the whole of the northern Ghana. Mr. Speaker, the shea industry currently provides employment and income for over 900,000 women in the 5 regions of northern Ghana, according to the United Nations Development Programme 2010 Impact Assessment Report. The industry has been projected to equalize the cocoa industry, as shea butter, a product from the shea nut, have become an important export commodity in Ghana. Export earnings from the community reached 52 million Ghana cedis. In 2014, 96% rise over the 26 million Ghana cedis recorded in the 2013 period. Mr. Speaker, for many women within the northern sector, the main source of income is the production of shea nuts and shea butter, the shea manufacturing of great socio-economic importance to the local people. It is obvious that the economic resilience derived from shea nuts in terms of income, assets, earnings, and the social indicators of well-being, education, health, and living standards cannot be overemphasized. The overall potential of the shea industry as a source of employment, poverty reduction, propelling growth in northern Ghana, and a source of foreign exchange for the country is therefore not fully realized. Profits from selling shea butter have also been found to account for at least 12% poorer household income at a challenging time between the end of yearly food stores and before a new harvest. This implies that shea butter processing is a major alternative livelihood activity for most women in northern Ghana, per a research conducted by Aduse Poku in 2017. Mr. Speaker, despite these sterling benefits, there are challenges, and the most common challenge identified by all players in the sector includes the hard work associated with processing nuts into butter and the lack of processing machinery. The shea butter producers lack capital, inadequate equipment, access to water, access to roads, and high cost of fuel wood, limited access to credit, and limited access to international markets, among others. Mr. Speaker, with benefits of shea nut and butter, it is therefore recommended that the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, in conjunction with the Cocoa Board, map out strategies to ensure access to financial and other material support from government and other institutions for women in the shea nut industry. This way, Mr. Speaker, the producers will be able to boost their shea nut business and trade in international and contribute their quota to the national development. In addition, Mr. Speaker, the ministry should undertake vigorous research and development to enable them identify better and easier processing methods, machines, and more uses for shea products. This will not only boost quality and quantity of the shea products, but also reduce production costs. Right Honourable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes. Let me start with my senior honourable member for Wa Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this very, very important statement. Mr. Speaker, the shea nut industry is a very important industry for the people of Ghana, and especially for those of us who live in the north of Ghana.
The shea nut is largely grown in the northern part of Ghana, in the savanna regions. It is a natural process in which trees, they grow by the seeds that fall on the ground without anybody directly planting them. But it's a gifted situation in which everywhere you go in the northern part of Ghana, you find the shea nut plant growing. And the fruits of the shea nut has such good, because of the nature of the plant and the use it is to our human life. It has become a worldwide industry. A lot of people are buying it to produce cream. They buy it to produce edible oil, and they buy it to use the process to do other industrial things. Right now, as I'm talking, Mr. Speaker, I know of a company in Canada which has come to establish a small shea nut industry in Wa, where the plants are taken care of, the fruits are utilized, the nuts, the oil is produced out of it, and then it's exported. And I want to urge the government to look beyond just the fact that we pick these shea nuts and sell at cheaper prices to middlemen and to people who want to use it for export. It is important to fortify the usage of it in Ghana. It is important to make sure that we strengthen the people who are collecting it and processing it, so that we can have the industry grow to just the manual usage of it. Mr. Speaker, it is important that if the women are given strength, if they are given the power of collecting and using a certain technology to process the shea nut fruits, we can have greater number of people being employed. Millions of people are going to be employed. When women are employed and women are strong in capability of managing their own affairs, it is possible, and I agree with what Agri has said. When you strengthen the woman, you strengthen the population. It is possible for the women to take care of a good population, and Ghana is going to benefit a lot. It is not just the fact that we have more poorer people in Ghana. It is the fact that we invest less in the north. Several situations exist where we can create opportunities for people to better themselves and to improve production in the north. And one area is the shea nut, improving the shea nut industry. And I agree with the maker of the statement that when we put emphasis on it, the emphasis is going to have a multiple effect on both the local economy and the national economy. So, Mr. Speaker, this statement is a statement that we can explore further. And I wish the Minister for Agriculture and Minister for Trade would have been here to hear this statement and to put in effort to see what they can do in enlarging the market, in improving the industry, and in ensuring that more young people are into it in a more modern manner than what we are seeing today. Today, women walk into the farms, into the dark, into all corners of the wilderness in order to collect shea nut fruits. Anything can happen. We can have improved methods in doing this, but that will ensure that there will be national involvement, national commitment to it. So we can enlarge the market, we can enlarge the industry, and create value for the people in the industry. The Speaker, as I said, it is an area we can explore deeper than we are seeing today. And it can help in national development. It can relieve the many people who are in the north who are creating, who are unemployed, and the many who are dripping into this place in the form of kaya ye, which we don't accept in the normal course of events. We want to see people work for themselves. This is an area to get people work for themselves. If we inject income into the area, many young people are going to stay at home. Many young people are going to work in it,
and we can have an improved life situation in the north. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity, and I hope that this statement will go as far as the Minister of Agriculture and Trade, so they can plan towards doing something positive about it. Thank you.
Yes, let me come to Offensive South, even though we don't pick Shea nuts in Offensive. But I can see that you were working at Cocoa Board, and therefore you have something to offer the House. So let's hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first of all, let me thank the maker of the statement, my good friend Oscar Lawal, Member of Parliament for Yoyon constituency. Mr. Speaker, the shea industry has a huge potential which is not being exploited. Mr. Speaker, as you rightly said, I worked with Ghana Cocoa Board, and before I became a member of Parliament, I was the executive director for Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana, the research wing of Ghana Cocoa Board. Mr. Speaker, and Cocoa Board has established a research station at Boli, specifically to research into shea. Mr. Speaker, and if you visit Cocoa Research Institute, the byproducts division of Cocoa Research, Mr. Speaker, the unit has developed a number of varieties, uses of the shea nut. Mr. Speaker, quite a number of them. And it is strange that nobody is taking interest in the establishment for the various uses. Mr. Speaker, the shea nut oil is the second most important food oil apart from palm oil. Again, if you take the mesocap, the vitamins in it, the vitamin C, is about 3 times more than what is found in orange. Again, for the pharmaceutical, the cosmetic industries, shea nut is very, very vital. Mr. Speaker, as the last contributor said, we are not giving enough attention to the shea nut industry. So farmers will have to do pickings from the wild. They are either not getting enough fruits, or the quality of fruits they pick may not be very high. Mr. Speaker, if we really want to develop the shea industry, we have to domesticate the shea tree, as we have done for cocoa. Mr. Speaker, the most challenging aspect of the shea industry is the long gestation period for the tree. Mr. Speaker, it takes between 15 to 30 years for the shea to come into fruition. But because of research by the Cocoa Research Institute, the gestation period has been reduced from 15 to 30 years to just about 2 years. So now you can plant the shea and start harvesting just after 2 years. So, Mr. Speaker, if we really, really want to harness the uses of shea, we have to cultivate the shea as we are doing for cocoa. Cocoa research is now gathering a lot of varieties. They want to gather a lot of genes for the shea industry. But the constraint they have now is that a lot of the shea trees are being destroyed, either through domestication or through the burning for fuel wood or for charcoal. Mr. Speaker, again, the other constraint for the domestication is the pests and diseases. And again, cocoa research have been able to develop varieties that are tolerant and also resistant to the pests and the diseases. So, Mr. Speaker, if we want to reduce the unemployment in the north, I think the way to go is to develop the shea industry. It may interest you to know that cocoa research has even developed biodiesel from shea. So, Mr. Speaker, the potential for shea is so huge, and we would encourage the incoming minister to ensure that much attention is given to the shea industry, just as is given to the cocoa industry in the south. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you very much.
I'm inclined to give it to the lady. It doesn't what? Yes, Honorable Agnes, let's hear you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to contribute to the statement ably made by my colleague. I deem it a great honor. When it comes to the shea industry, we all know that it is largely female dominated. And when we are talking about women's empowerment, it is important that we look at it not as an event, but then as a process. So we look at it right from the onset. What are the things and the factors that will contribute to women giving up their best in this industry? Most often, empowerment not being an event is not looked holistically. It's not looked at holistically. So at the point where the whole process is commodified, that is where government takes interest of what essence, of what money do we derive from it. But we hardly think of how it improves on the livelihoods of the people involved in that industry. And this is what is affecting most of the women. Assuming the women were even doing it for the income that is generated from the shea industry, it is important that they get the motivation to be able to do it and give off their best. We need to create that enabling environment, not just by paying lip service, but it is important that the technology that is needed in this industry is provided for the women, just like any other industry that are male-dominated. We look at it from the scratch, what technology is needed, who and who needs to be trained and retrained. At the end of the day, what do we get from the training? And those that are in the industry, what benefits? How does it improve their livelihood? And then the household. When you come to a place like Greater Accra, you realize that most homes are female-headed. And if it is the same at places such as the north, then you are going to have, especially if there's a lot of polygamy, then you're going to realize that empowering women to economically be on their feet is going to improve livelihoods of not just the women, but also their household. So I will encourage us as a people that the policies we put in place should not be policies that will only go to favor men, but policies that will favor the women. It doesn't matter the industry we find ourselves in. This shea nut industry has been there for a very long time. And it's very disappointing and unfortunate to say that both government and private individuals have not holistically looked at how the process, what the process goes through and how it can be helped. Now that we look at the diesel that will come out of it and some other byproducts, you realize that it comes to being commoditized. And at the end of the day, it will be male-dominated. Not too long ago, cooking was the thing of women. As soon as men came in and they became chefs and all that, you realize that the value of cooking, was hyped. And now the men are struggling with the women over who cooks best. And because of that, whatever is needed to make sure that catering service or industry is improved is also advancing. I will plead with all of us as policymakers that we look at it holistically, not just as an event. And it couldn't have come, the statement couldn't have come at a better time than this. So all of us need to put our hands on deck if we really want to work towards not just income-generating activities, not just improving the economic livelihoods of people and the nation. It is also important for us to look at it as how we individually contribute to ensure that people's skills that are developed are actually enhanced to make sure that they themselves are happy with what they do, to give off their best, right from the, let me say, the local level to the national level. I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Dr. Sandari, let's hear you.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to also contribute to this very important and well-researched statement on the benefits of shea nut industry on women's empowerment in Ghana, delivered by the able Honorable Oscar Lewa, MP for Yoyo constituency. Mr. Speaker, we can use a whole day to talk about the importance of the shea nut industry, and we wouldn't even finish. Because it has a very huge potential, economic potential, as far as northern Ghana and the whole Ghana is concerned. Many of us, in fact, I would say all the MPs who are from the north in this chamber benefited hugely from the shea industry. That's what our mothers, our grandmothers used to take many of us in our education. And in fact, the women sometimes use the proceeds from the shea processing sometimes even take care of their husbands. Because I know there are times when the men are hot, they go and take some of the shea nuts from their wives to the market to sell so that they can get something for the day. So, Mr. Speaker, what we should be talking for more is about value addition. Because as for the benefits and the importance of the shea nuts, it's very huge. It says as nutrition, the shea fruits are very nutritious. And during the season where you have shea fruits, many of children and people up north don't look for food. You just take some sweet shea fruits, take water, and you are good to go for the day. So we take the fruits, we process the nuts for oil and for so many things, even the shells. are of economic importance. So let's see as a country how we can play same or similar importance of the shea industry as we do for cocoa industry. Because we see the loans we approve in this house and many other areas, stakeholders play when it comes to cocoa. We can do same for the shea. And that one will benefit not only the North, but the country will also drive a lot of economic importance from it. But like the maker of the statement stated, there are other areas we also have to do, because the shea tree is facing a lot of challenges. One, from bushfire. Two, our people now cut the shea trees for wood and other, funny reasons, when we should be protecting, the shea trees. Like the honorable member for Offenso, yes, mentioned. The research institute at Bole is there to ensure that they improve upon the traditional shea trees that we have up north. And I think it is good. But Mr. Speaker, in concluding, I want to say that efforts have been taken, and what we need to do is to build on these efforts. I mean, we all remember that the NDC established a shea nut processing industry at Bupe. And I believe this government can also do more, and future governments will do more. So let's all put relevance, importance on the shea industry so that it will be of huge benefit to empowering women up north and in Ghana as a whole. Mr. Speaker, you remember those days you enter shop and you couldn't get shea cream or whatever. These days, enter any shop, supermarket, and you see that there are now shea creams, well processed, that our ladies and even the gentlemen like that one better than other creams. So I want to thank you very much for the opportunity. I thank the maker of the statement. In fact, it's an important statement that needs some referral to one of the committees to further look into it, because the importance is very huge for this country. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Let me come to the leadership. Yes, Honorable Ahmed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important statement. Mr. Speaker, in 2018, we passed Tree Crop and Development Authority Act. Mr. Speaker, if Ghana would concentrate on any tree crop apart from cocoa, I think the shea nut tree should be number one. Mr. Speaker, this is a tree that is given, that grow well in the savannah and the northern regions. Mr. Speaker, it's unfortunate to notice that most of these shea nut trees are now being cut and are used for charcoal burning. Mr. Speaker, it takes over 100 years. The tree grows wild, and it takes over 100 to 150 years to have them populated in a certain area. When we were in middle school, in the olden days,
at 7.
Mr. Speaker, during the PNDC era, an attempt was made to create shea nut farms. And one of them was in my district, in the Bana district. Mr. Speaker, about 100 acres shall not farm. If you go there today, you can't count up to 10 because the shell tree grows in the wilderness. If you make an attempt to plant it, it may not even bear fruit. Even for it to be able to germinate and grow well is a problem. So these are things we are given by nature. Mr. Speaker, we couldn't create the shell farms. Those that are given by nature are also being caught for firewood. Mr. Speaker, in my constituency, local community, it is a taboo to cut a shade tree for either firewood or for other purposes. These were the taboos that were created by the local communities. With the emergence of modern governance, those taboos are not being enforced like they used to be. And the local district assembly bylaws, because of the non-enforceable nature of it, Mr. Speaker, people just have relaxed the taboos, they've relaxed the bylaws, and those trees are just being cut. So, if you look at the economic and health benefit, economic, social, and health benefit of the shell tree, Mr. Speaker, I think it is time for this House to legislate and sanction those who cut shell trees for firewood or other purposes. But in the local communities, even if you are clearing an area from a farm and there's a shade tree there, you can't cut it. The laws make that one an abomination. But because some of those bylaws now are not enforceable in the law court, the Speaker, almost all the shade trees in areas like Kine, Bana, and other areas are being cut for firewood purposes. So this House must see to it that we legislate. Because if you look at the economic importance and the kind of employment that they created in those days, and now those trees are being cut, Mr. Speaker, we cannot sit down and fold our arms for such an atrocity to go on. So I want to end by saying that, therefore, AGRIC must prioritize the protection of the little that are left.
Do you have a Minister for Agriculture?
Mr. Speaker, I thought the Honorable Howard Kunsin was made the Minister responsible for food and agriculture. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So she must prioritize legislating to protect the little shell trees that are left. Because if you go to US, go to UK, the shea butter is being exported for foreign exchange. And I believe it's a good direction for us to go that way. So that is my humble comment that I want to make, to legislate and protect those few shell trees that are left. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Before Leader Okam, I think Honorable Isaac Opoku said the research that has been undertaken, now the shade tree can be grown, and within 2 years or after 2 years it can start fruiting. If I got Honorable Opoku right, so it's no more over 100 years. If indeed research has established that, then I think it's something that we have to do more to get the trees producing. Honorable Leader, before you come with the concluding contribution, let me employ the House to allow me to extend the sitting beyond the normal hours. It's now 2 o'clock. So, Honorable Leader, you may take the floor.
Speaker, thank you. And I will just be brief on this. I think the honorable member who spoke has dealt with the matter in proper context, and he is an industry person, so he's put out all the facts. Just to add that because we passed the Tree Development Authority, this is a matter that should not get out of the lens of this authority. It's surprising that it hasn't received the needed attention. It's a huge resource. So, Speaker, I would only add that commend the member and particularly employ. As you rarely nudged and admonished my friend and was wondering if we have a minister for agri. We are aware your party has issued a 3-line whip that nominees by the minister, in this context, those, the one for the agri sector, should not be passed. One breath, you want the Shea Nuts and Tree Development Authority to blossom and the Shea Nuts industry to grow. Yet, you are refusing to support the passage of these nominees. I want to implore you, through you, to your party leadership, that the agri sector and all the other nominees are so critical. I don't even want to say temper justice with mercy, because you are not doing us any mercy. It is your constitutional responsibility. As I get surprised, one breath they say don't pass them, another breath they say they'll go and vet them. What are you vetting them for? So if you are going to say that from the outset, you should have waited to vet them before you say you won't pass them, based on how they acquit themselves. It's most unfortunate. I just pray that from now to tomorrow, you have a change of mind. As I know he prays a lot, and is a good Pentecostal. He should go and pray fervently that indeed for us to change the fortunes, especially on the agriculture sector of our country, we don't have to waste time. You should have listened to the nominee. Wonderful and beautiful, all the wonderful, beautiful ideas. If you don't pass him, how does he implement them? My colleagues, and I see the former deputy leader paying attention to his phone. Listen to me. Listen to me. Go and talk to your colleagues. They should talk to their colleagues and advise them. We have to pass.
Well, leader, why are you inviting him?
You should speak.
Speaker, I take objection to the comment passed by the majority whip. Mr. Speaker, looking into my phone does not block my ears from listening to what he was saying. So to say that I should listen to him, it was completely wrong. I was hearing every bit of what he was saying.
Leader, it's just that.
So he should withdraw that statement and tell the House that he made a mistake by thinking that I wasn't listening to what he was saying. Because he said that all these good ideas, if you don't implement them, we will not get anywhere. All these things were said by you. I've listened to you. Please.
Leader, I think it's a long time he heard your voice, so he just wanted to invite you to.
You captured it right. I've missed him. I've missed you. As I can stay clear of that. But particularly, talk to your colleagues. Talk to your national executive. They should stop issuing such 3-line whip. It doesn't help AGA unity and the unity of purpose of this country moving forward. So we are on a more serious note, the matter that is so critical. We have to commend the maker of the statement, and then our colleague, clearly he has some privilege, so we have some privileged awareness of the industry. I will employ him to liaise with the maker of the statement and ensure that we see all the good ideas see the light of day. So it's also critical because if you look at the poverty level in that area, it is very grinding, and it's our women who are suffering. And the share nut is their main economic mainstay. It cannot be toyed with. I hope you advise your people and support us in passing all the nominees so that we can develop the share nut and you will benefit from it. You will benefit from the share nut industry. So is he laughing?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think that my colleague always want to listen to my sweet voice. Mr. Speaker, he is pointing at me that I should talk to my colleagues. And he made reference to the national executive of my party that I should talk to them to stop issuing some kind of directives. Mr. Speaker, that is good. The proposal coming from him is good. But he has forgotten that recently his national executive also issued a directive on the approval or the removal of the finance minister. The position that they have taken, the directive that they have given to you, the 3-line whip, in fact, it's even more than 3-line whip that they have given to you. But you are living in a glass stone. You don't throw a glass house. You don't throw stone. You are throwing stone and it's coming back to hit you. So if you are advising me to do that, I want to equally advise him to do same. He should start from his house. Clean your house first before you go out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now take the last statement. I believe members are quite tired, but you have to take the last statement. Yes, Honorable Leader.
With respect, with your leave, I've related to my colleague coming under Order 53. It's got varied order of business and take item, go on to public business. So I'll seek your leave. So item 8F. So item 8F, with your leave. And
very well.
To do it for and on behalf of the Leader of the House.
Very well. Yes, Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we have no objection. The lane is not that controversial, but it's a very controversial report. Once it is laid, copies must be made available to members. We shouldn't lay it, then go home. Then tomorrow we come before members will be searching for copies, because members need copies to go and do other research so that we can debate it on Thursday. And that is the report of the Special Budget Committee on the Electoral Commission CI. So it is a very controversial and turbulent report. And every member in this House must be...
Why is it controversial? Why is it turbulent?
Because if you read the report itself, that is what it says.
Anyway,
the committee raised serious objections. And members must be given copies of it. Thank you.
Very well. So, honorable members, let me invite you to page 6. Page 6, item listed F, that is 8F, by the chairman of the Special Budget Committee.
Report of the Special Budget Committee on the Draft Public Elections Registration of Voters Regulations 2022 and other related matters.
Honorable members, the report has been duly presented. It is for distribution to honorable members. And please, I want to urge the table to make sure every member gets a copy. I repeat, let's make sure every member gets a copy of the report. Very well. So we come back to the last statement, and that statement stands the name of a member for Domiabra Obum, Honorable Sophia Kalim Edem Ekuyokon, on Future Trends Ghana, Africa Manifesto. Yes, Honorable Ekuyokon, the floor is yours. Members are eager to listen to you. Let's hear you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to make a statement on the Future Trends Group, Ghana, Africa. Mr. Speaker, according to the World Bank, Sub-Saharan Africa is home to more than 1 billion people, endowed with vast natural resources, and has the potential to yield inclusive growth and eradicate poverty in the region. This is consistent with SDG 1, which hinges on no poverty. Most African countries are contending with high inflation, which challenges all efforts by African governments to reduce poverty. Mr. Speaker, however, the economic growth in sub-Saharan Africa is set to decelerate from 4.1% in 2021 to 3.3% in 2022. As a result of a slowdown in global growth, rising inflation as a result of mismanagement of the economy, adverse weather conditions, a tightening in global financial conditions, and the rising risk of debt distress. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is of no exception to the current economic crisis experienced by other African countries. According to research conducted by the Institute for Security Studies, the economy of Ghana has suffered significantly since the early 2022. Petrol and diesel prices have jumped by 88.6% and 128.6% respectively, making the cost of transportation very high. Likewise, water and electricity tariffs have risen by 27.2% and 21.6% respectively. According to the World Bank report 2022, Ghana has the highest food prices in sub-Saharan Africa at the rate of 12.2% since January 2022. The Ghana cedi is currently the worst performing currency globally, and as a result, the IMF has revised Ghana's projected growth rate for the year 2022 from 5.2% to 3.2%. Again, Mr. Speaker, Ghana, a country richly endowed with fertile soil for mass food production, is still unable to produce enough food to sustain Ghanaians. The country's inability to produce enough for exports and its reliance on imports for daily consumption has led to a significant deficit in its trade balance position. Consumers are currently faced with high import prices. There is therefore the need for strategic interventions and higher investment in the agriculture sector to achieve self-sufficiency in food production. Mr. Speaker, Future Trends International Ghana believes that Ghana and Africa as a whole has a chance of renewal and a renaissance in value addition. Africa is endowed with so much wealth, which needs to be actualized through the collective efforts of all of us Africans. Mr. Speaker, the establishment of the Future Trends Group, which exists for business development among nations, is highly attributed to the hard work and efforts of Dr. Fazam Kamalabadi in 1993 in the USA. Future Trends Groups now operate globally due to the enormous collective efforts of various member companies, partners, projects, and platforms across countries in diverse industries and sectors. Dr. Fazam Kalamabadi is a Persian American who is a supporter of several African homegrown companies in the blockchain or the digital economy for the better future for Ghana and Africa. Mr. Speaker, the Future Trends Manifesto for Ghana and Africa has been created by Dr. Kamalabadi through combined experiences, investigation, and a pool of vastly accumulated resources from around the world. This is geared towards developing a lasting solution to the fate of humanities in Africa. And this has already started a movement in Africa, by Africa, from Africa, for Africa, precisely in Ghana. This movement has a great potential of improving the current economic, political, social, health, and industrial conditions in Ghana and Africa as a whole. Mr. Speaker, the manifesto strategically intends to discover and deliver applicable fast-tracking systems, innovative modeling, and new methodologies for Ghana and Africa. This objective can be achieved through collective participation of all relevant stakeholders, the one destination of the entire continent through a shared vision and a common purpose, and through the creation of an exponential multiplication of all converged assets, resources, and the total national economies of Ghana and Africa. Mr. Speaker, in sum, the Future Trends Africa Manifesto announces a mega strategy of convergence, integration, and aggregation with the contribution of all visionary leaders of the continent, whether political, financial, industrial, entrepreneurial, humanitarian, and leaders of thought. That is to converge, merge, aggregate, integrate, multiply, digitalize, create wealth, and to distribute it back to the society. This to create the Ghana that is first world country. Mr. Speaker, Future Trends Group led by Dr. Fazam Kamalabadi hopes to have in-depth meetings with the heads and hearts of our beloved country Ghana. That is, meeting with all stakeholders to brainstorm ideas and form initiatives to make Ghana as well as other African countries realize its full potentials and capabilities, no more a receiver of financial or humanitarian debt, but a surplus investor and outbound financier to other nations. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Well. So, honourable members, the statement has been read to us, and we will take leader. Honourable members, when we came in the 7th Parliament, when the statement is about to be read, the statement is distributed across members. It appears nowadays that's not the case. The maker of the statement will keep the statement to himself or herself, and after a very wonderful statement has been read, nobody will have a copy to contribute. And that is a bit, so let's try and share. So, Honorable Member for Fajato, let's hear you. I saw you up.
It's just unfortunate. I think my colleague should do his work. He's not doing his job, Speaker. As a whip, he should ensure that the statement is distributed across, especially when it's emanating from their side. Mr. Whip, do your job.
Mr. Speaker, you know, this statement was given today by the member with the expectation that it will be taken tomorrow. But because business is light, that is why it has been adjusted to be taken today. But tomorrow is the 30th anniversary.
Leader, are you sure?
Yeah,
the precedent. The statement was given, and you requested that it's taken.
Mr. Speaker, in fact, I minuted it today. And that is why I said that it was supposed to be taken tomorrow. But because of the 30th anniversary tomorrow, that's why we are taking the 3 statements today. Because tomorrow, the statement that will be taken will be on the 30th anniversary. And nobody will be accommodated with his statement. That is the reason. Mr. Speaker, you know I'm competent enough. I act where it matters. This is the controversial one. And they are Imam Bozum. I'm just sharing them to members. There's another controversial one. I've already shared that one. Thursday, Mr. Speaker, we'll meet him squarely. He knows.
Anyway, let's hear the contributors. Yes, Honorable Member for Fajeto, but be brief.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement made by my sister, Honorable Sophia Karina Kwako, on the Future Trends Ghana Africa Manifesto. Mr. Speaker, this is an eye-opener. Today is my first time of hearing about this particular institution, and I thank her for bringing it up to the House because I have learned something new today in addition to what I've already been reading. I thank the group leader, Dr. Fazim Kamalabadi, for the good job he's trying to do for the African continent. But just to appeal to the group that, as stated in the last paragraph of the statement, that he will be meeting and be having an in-depth meeting with our head of state and other stakeholders. They should not forget to include Parliament in that stakeholder consultation so that we get to know more and help them to achieve what they want to achieve for the continent. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. So now let him come to leadership. Honorable Ahmed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity, and to thank the maker of the statement for bringing this to our attention. Mr. Speaker, this African manifesto, thinking of African developmental issues. Mr. Speaker, it is a good intention as Africans look within. But Mr. Speaker, to most African countries to plan ahead and to be able to organize what we have and to write or formulate our policies alongside develop the continent of Africa. Mr. Speaker, we are talking of Africa. I would like to look within the country. Drafting a manifesto that will stand the test of time. Even budgeting within a year without a supplementary budget or review budget has been a problem. So it will not be out of place to be thinking of African manifestos. I think this is a wake-up call for African politicians and, for that matter, Ghanaian politicians to be able to know what matters to us and what development structures that we must use. Mr. Speaker, I'm not a member of the Pan-African Parliament. Pan-African Parliament, even moving towards from advisory to the legislative thing, has been a challenge. And a manifesto must be translated into law. And that is why when manifestos are drawn and political parties win elections, they draw their budget alongside the manifestos. And that budget are approved by the passage of the Appropriation Act. Once Appropriation Act has been passed, it now becomes a law. That empowers the winner to be able to translate the manifesto into legislation and into action. We are talking of Africa. Is Pan-African Parliament not just advisory? And if you have a parliament that is just advisory, therefore drawing a manifesto for that continent, how can you translate it into an act or into a law? So I think getting an African manifesto will not be out of place, but it must begin on the African Continental Parliament. We must empower Pan-African Parliament to move from advisory to legislation. Once that is done, that is the very foundation for the manifesto to be translated from advisory or from just mere policy proposals into law. So, Speaker, then you come here. Our national development planning. How long are we able to even plan domestically? So that has been a challenge. And I think this should be a very good stepping point for us to be able to confront that challenge and be able to surmount that problem. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And
Yes.
I want to conclude once again by thanking the maker of the statement for bringing this to our attention. It is moving us from just partisan issues to ideological beats, where political parties or the entire Africa will be moving with African ideology, so that we'll be able to know where to write the African manifesto. Your manifestos are byproduct of ideology. So what is the African ideology? These are matters to be discussed in the near future. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Leader.
Speaker, I will not be significantly different from my competent whip, but commending the maker of the statement also puts matters in context, starting off where he ended on the notes of the Pan-African Parliament. So I'm privileged to represent the House at the Pan-African Forum. Yes, it's true. If you look at the Constitution, that manipulates or control the affairs of the Pan-African Parliament, it's been advisory, wholly advisory. Thankfully, we set in motion, and my colleague, the Honorable Muntaka, plays a significant role at the House for the men to be effected to the standing orders regulating the affairs of the Pan-African Parliament. I'm glad to say that we've gone beyond the first phase. And then last 2 years' election that was plagued with a litany of violent antics. Speaker, my humble self was nominated as electoral commissioner, and we made our country proud by conducting a very transparent, free and fair election. And yeah, it's where we got the Honorable Cherimbiwa, who comes from
We learned you fought over there.
There were violent exchanges before. And then the African Union came in and formed this electoral body. So we got it conducted free and fair after the unfortunate display of violence. Yeah, so it's something we can pride ourselves in. But seriously, what we should also be careful is the duplication of crusades, slogans, manifesto, and all these slogans, which really, if we are not careful, will putting ourselves on a coalition course. Wonderful idea by the honorable member. However, we already have some templates in existence. So the African Union has put in place agenda, what they call Agenda 2063. Do we have to repeat? Do we have to review? Or is it a question of enforcement? Probably, my humble view, I think there is a question of enforcement. If we look at the world order right down from the Second World War, 1945, and the world order changed. If you look at the policy that has been handed over to Africa, the ERP, the Economic Recovery Program, the Structural Adjustment Program, and the PAMSCA, all these programs have come with conditionalities that really don't go to feed into the core of concerns of the continent. Why? You give us aid with one hand and tell us that withdraw subsidy to the social sectors of the economy. Meanwhile, developed countries, America and all these countries, it is proven that money spent, on the average, money spent on a cattle in these countries are more than what we spend on humans. So let's not reinvent the wheel. There are 1,001 models that we can cite. Look at the Greece example, is a wonderful example. If you look at the economic trajectory that Greece as a country went through in their economic recovery, and the support that the IMF, the British institution gave them, is significantly different from how Africa has been treated. So we have to take our destiny in our hands. Recently, we are talking about energy transition. Energy transition. Speaker, experts have said that close to 70% of the resources, the raw materials needed in the production of the variables for energy transition, i.e. solar and all the solar batteries, 60% of the raw materials are deposited in Africa. So then we need to leverage on that. But as to whether we can do that again is another thing. We have all the mineral deposits. People come here and ship our minerals in droves into other countries. We cannot add value to our gold. We cannot add value to what we have. Look at what is happening as Congo. It is the richest country in the world. And yet, that is where we have more conflict. How come that all the African countries that is very rich in raw materials, you have more conflict in these areas than others? So maybe a day where we can dissect properly into this concern. But I commend you only to caution that we should be careful with slogans and reinventing the wheel.
One village, one town.
I just commended my colleague for his competence. I don't know if he's inviting me to pierce the veil. Yeah, so I'll commend my colleagues and all of us rally around whatever we can do. But we have an existing template. Honorable Sophia, we have an existing template, Agenda 2063. Let's not be seen to be departing significantly from this. I think if we pursue this with the unity of purpose, we should be able to make a meaning. Agenda 111 is important. And you know, they know Agenda 111 is work in progress. It is better to start something. It is better to start something than to sit idle. So I thank you for the space.
Well, honorable members, we have brought statement time to a close. We thank all the makers of the statement, Honorable Gomeshi, Honorable Liwa, and Honorable Kwiokon, for the three wonderful statements we've received today. Again, let me thank all the contributors who contributed to the statement.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to say that the name is Akuaku. Akuaku. I heard something different. So.
Well. I pronounce it in Akan way, in Asante way. So it's Sufaya Akuaku. Very well. So leadership, any indication?
Speaker, I think we've exhausted what we plan to do. And so, as we've already exceeded 2 o'clock, Speaker, will be in your hands.
The Speaker, I'm with my colleague. We are in your hands. Except to add that tomorrow is Wednesday the 22nd of February. And I think that is the day for the launching of the 30th anniversary celebration. So colleagues, honorable colleagues should take note. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, there's a challenge. But we are in Parliament. Tomorrow is the 30th anniversary celebration. Members must endeavor to be here on time. And we must be here in our Christmas attire. Mr. Speaker, 30 years ago, 7 January 1993, Ghana moved into the 4th Republican dispensation. And that's been the longest Republican that we have had. So tomorrow is a day for us as Parliament to celebrate. It's just about 2 to 3 hour program that has been planned. I believe the chairman would have been here to throw light on the kind of activity that we are going to have. But Mr. Speaker, I'm pleading with members so that there should be no plenty empty spaces, because it's going to be a program which will be telecast. The diplomatic corps are going to be here. Members of the judiciary, some members of the judiciary are going to be here. Some members of the executives are going to be here. Other dignitaries have been invited. So if we are inviting external bodies to come into our home, we must make sure that we put the house in good order. And there must be a good, calm atmosphere within the chamber, because there will be statements from the two leadership and from the speakership. We must make sure we give the necessary support so that the entire Africa or the whole world will speak well of the Parliament of Ghana. This is the few message that I want to put across. Maybe the chairman didn't brief the leader, that's why he didn't say it. So it is coming from both sides. We must make sure tomorrow we come, and I think it's 10 o'clock.
Is it?
9. The Speaker, you confer with the clerk. The time, I was thinking it's 10.
It's 9.
But I'm being told it's 9. And once it is 9, per the standing or the members are used to coming to Parliament at 10. So any program you organize before 10, sometimes attendance becomes a challenge. But tomorrow, we must prioritize to come as early as possible. If they say 9, we must be here by between 8:30 and 9. Mr. Speaker, that's the message I want to put across.
Thank you very much. Yes, Leader.
Speaker, I want to speak in solidarity with my colleague, but also to say that in this House, anytime there has been such an occasion, we've risen to it. We are known to be a House that always acquits itself with true credibility. So I have no doubt that tomorrow we will come in our numbers, and as my colleague is proposing, we should come in our Christmas attire. Members will come to support. So I just want to conclude by, and I look into the faces of my colleagues. I see the Honorable Abnakwa, I see the Honorable Afeji, and I see my good friend, the competent whip.
I hope we are not inviting them.
No, I just want to plead with them that when they go home, when they sleep on their soft pillow, they should reconsider their decision not to support the nominees. I mean the ministerial nominees. They should reconsider and support them. We need you. We can't do without you, so that we can approve of them and move this country forward. So on that note, I want to end and to support my colleague for all the things he said. We as whips, we will also take it as a mandate. We are to carry members along to inform them, especially on the time. Now that we are reporting at 9 o'clock, we can inform members duly for us to respect it. So thank you.
Very well. So the whips, we have to do your work. Because I now understand that Honorable Ahmed is the Vice Chairman of the Planning Committee. So I think we can whip our members to be on time. On that note, honorable members, we bring the curtains to a close. And I would like to thank you for your cooperation. We adjourn the House to tomorrow, 9 o'clock, as it has been announced to us. And we hope all members will be on time. We thank you once again, and the House stands adjourned.